Hi everyone, this is Miss Moriarty, and I'm here to discuss with us our notes on concept number 2 as a part of our cells and cell transport unit. Within this concept, we're going to talk about the cellular structure. So these are all the types of organelles we might find in a eukaryotic cell, and some, remember, are also found in prokaryotic cells. But remember, a characteristic unique to eukaryotes is the fact that they possess what's called an organelle. Organelles kind of act like little mini organs and that they have very specialized jobs, kind of like our heart. One of the really important organelles found in eukaryotes is the nucleus, and this is the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains nearly all of the cell's DNA, and we know it's DNA that holds the coded instructions for making all the proteins and any other important molecule found for the cell. The nucleus, kind of similar to the cell itself, is surrounded by a membrane known as the nuclear envelope. And you can see here the nuclear envelope possesses nuclear pores. We have pores in the nuclear envelope to allow certain items in and certain items out. It is both plant and animal cells that are going to contain a nucleus. It's also important to note that inside the nucleus, we might find also the nucleolus. So, this is where the DNA is going to be highly condensed. It is also the area in where protein synthesis will begin. Because remember, it's DNA that holds the code to make all of the proteins. So, what comes next? Well, here are our ribosomes. Ribosomes are small particles of RNA, which remember is a type of nucleic acid. Here, it can be found in the cytoplasm or the jelly like fluid in both eukaryotes and prokaryotic cells. Their main job is to produce proteins and follow the code of instructions that come from DNA. Cells that are especially active in protein synthesis, kind of like our muscle cells, tend to have large numbers of ribosomes in order to promote more protein synthesis. Next comes our endoplasmic reticulum. Now, the ER is actually an internal membrane system found in eukaryotes that is very closely attached to the nucleus. There's actually two types of endoplasmic reticulum. One is called the rough ER, which you can see in this picture here. The rough ER has little ribosomes attached to it, and in that case, it actually helps in the release and secretion of membrane proteins. But next to that is what's called the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which lacks the ribosomes. This part of the ER contains collections of enzymes that help to perform very specialized tasks, like the building or synthesis of lipids, detoxification of drugs, and even the synthesis of carbohydrates. Now, next to the ER, we have another membrane type system that's a stack of flattened membranes called the Golgi apparatus, can sometimes also be called Golgi bodies. This organelle modifies, sorts, and packages proteins or other materials needed from the cell that come from the ER. And so you can kind of see in the image, it is the Golgi bodies that works very closely with the ER, and it can help to then package and sort and store other items, either moving them out of the cell or maybe moving them around the cell. So we just mentioned some items might want to be stored within the cell. Well, that's where the vacuoles will come into play. Vacuoles are large sac-like membrane-enclosed structures that are going to store materials like water, salts, proteins, and carbohydrates for the cell. Vacuoles are found in both plant and animal cells. However, in a plant cell, they tend to have much larger central vacuoles as opposed to an animal cell because remember, plants tend to photosynthesize, and photosynthesis requires water. So some examples here, we said plant cells have a large central vacuole. They're going to hold that liquid, and we use it for photosynthesis, but we can also use it for support. We can find that some vacuoles are found in paramecium, and they can use them as a pump to then move out excess water out of the cell. All right, everyone, that is it for this part of the notes. We are going to finish these concept number 2 notes tomorrow. Just make sure as you watch this, you took notes, and please mark this as done.